I've been starting off the episodes like being like, wait, are we actually live right now? Oh, okay. Well, we're live right now. See, like, yeah. I usually start the episodes off a bit quirky and stuff, but I guess we're live right now, so we're in. So tonight on the podcast, we have Mr. Brendan O'Brien, or AKA Code Red, or SMOKESCREEN as well, right?
That's the one.
And also runs Traction
Promotions,
Yeah, promotions, yeah. So you're a DJ, you're a producer as well? I forgot to ask before I started.
Not anything. Yeah, I dabble, but not. It's not a thing yet.
Yeah, it's such a different ball game to DJing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so complex diving into the world of production and music. Like,
Totally.
it's difficult. But then, so like, how long have you been DJing for? How long have you been involved with music and nightlife and everything? Like,
picked up my first set of decks in 2010.
2010. Okay. What decks?
It was an old pair of Denon DNS 3200s.
I love asking this question. I've never heard of those decks. But
they're
can we
the
pull
old
them up,
school
please?
Denons that have rotating platters.
Okay.
So they were like CDJs, but kind of infused with like turntables.
Okay. Are they heavy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
2010, they would have been like a brick, right?
like metal, steel cages.
Well, like,
those ones there.
Really? And they're individual, they're singles?
The ones on the bottom, the one you had on the bottom left, that one there, yeah.
No way.
They took only CDs, there was no USBs back then.
In 2010?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Were they expensive? Or?
Nah, I think I paid, it was still like $1,200 for a set with a mixer.
Well, see, like it says there, $321 just that single thing.
Yeah, they'd be worth not that much these days, but yeah, those were my first set of decks.
That would have been cool to learn on though, right?
Like, I'd been playing on vinyl on turntables before that, so transitioning into CDJs that add motorized platters was kind of a good little kind of stepping stone.
Did you try and learn how to scratch and stuff like that as well, or
not so much? I pretty much picked up turntables and the inevitable game of trying to mix drum and bass on turntables.
Yeah, that would have been full on,
1,000 train wrecks before you get one good mix.
Yeah,
you're just like stoked. You're like, fuck yeah, one good mix. And then sitting there with your mates with crates of vinyl, just trying to get a set together.
That would have been so cool though.
Yeah.
Like, I always envy the vinyl DJs playing on records and stuff like that. Like, going through the crates and then picking out a record and then putting it on, then trying to mix it up and stuff.
It's half of the fun was just digging through what you had and trying to think, because like even back then you didn't really have what the key of the song was or
BPMs. Well, like, didn't some records have no, maybe not. I don't know. I've never really played on records. So
like, I had a mate that was mixing with back then, Nathan Rolls. Shout out Rollsy.
Shout out Rollsy.
He had a little interface that went between the turntables and your mixer, and it had a little digital BPM gauge. So
really,
that was at least one thing kind of out the way that you.
That's like a game changer for records.
Yeah, you could at least get the BPMs right.
Yeah.
Like, there was no really mixing in key, so it was figuring out. You play a mix and it sounded like shit. You're like, all right, I'm not doing that one again. And then if you found a good one, you'd write it down your little notepad. And be like, all right, those two work. Keep it in your record kind of bank for next time.
Very cool. Have you always been into music and like electronic stuff and everything like that?
As long as I can remember. I was the person in art class with the iPod attached and making sure that you had a good tunes for the whole class.
Very nice, yeah.
And I think I was 21 when I got my first set of decks, so that year was DJing every 21st party of all my mates from school, all of their friends, and it kind of just snowballed, and then their younger friends and brothers and sisters would be DJing at their parties. And
did you ever like charge, or did you ever ask? Like, because when I was younger,
then, nah, not at all.
See, for me, I used to do this thing where it's like, because I live in Busselton, I'd be like, give me a 6-pack of beer or a carton or something, maybe $50 for my fuel money, and then I'll just go play your party. Yeah, totally. And it just worked out so well because I pay for my fuel, plus I get to hang out at the party and have fun, right? Like,
once it became like extended people that I wasn't really friends with, I did start charging and stuff. But if it was my mate's birthdays, I would obviously be there anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's it. Yeah,
getting to choose the music and get the party going was always number one priority.
Very, very nice. Yeah.
And then I started mixing in clubs 2014.
2014. Okay.
First promoter that I ever played for was guys called Surface Tension.
Surface Tension.
Shout out to Matt and Stu and Shad.
Okay.
These guys were running electronic night, mostly kind of what would you call it? Future beat and like
future
trap.
beat.
It's like,
oh yeah. When
like,
trap was huge. Yeah.
It was more, not so much the kind of gangster sort of stuff, but like.
But it was more like electronic, it was like
Hudson Mohawk and Rusty and St. John Hawk and those sort of vibes.
And classic like RL grime and stuff like that as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the good stuff.
So that was pretty much the first. Playing out for that sort of style, and I've always mixed hip hop as well. So
well, like classic '90s hip hop. Yeah, the good stuff. Yeah,
so I played a few nights. I think the old Good Shepherd Club in Leederville was called Double Lucky at one stage, and then
Double Lucky. Okay.
They rebranded to Good Shepherd, and they were running a night called Chocolate Jesus.
Yeah. I remember hearing about that, and I was really confused. Like, is this a church or what is this? Is Chocolate Jesus?
That was the Saturday night at the Good Shepherd in Leedy, which is. I don't think it's even a club anymore.
Yeah, that's it. It was between the Leederville Hotel and Hippie Club, right?
In that little alleyway at the back.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Probably only like 100 capacity, 120.
But like used to go off though, right? It used to be like a pretty reclaimed spot, like.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
That was probably my first little stepping stone into DJing out. And
how was it though? Like your very first gig playing in front of people.
It's great. The club was Matches Lounge, which is now called Tiki as Fuck.
Oh yeah. The
Street.
Upstairs. Yep.
So it was like, I don't know, 40 or 50 people there, and mostly it was just like mates of the promoters, and it was like a Wednesday night or something. So
drum and bass as well.
No, this was all that kind of hip hop and future beat stuff. And
sweet. Okay. Yeah.
From then I was DJing with my mate Nino Volerich, who we played lots of sets out together, and those guys ended up they probably ran for about 4 years, the Surface Tension, and was kind of a resident DJ for them. So like. Yeah, they did gigs at, it was called Flye, which is then turned to Nevermind.
Yep. I remember Flye back in the day. Yeah. And they used to have Father there as well. Yeah. So Father was so good because it's like they had Melbourne and they had the Perth. So then they'd send DJs from Perth to Melbourne and Melbourne DJs to Perth. So it's like a good like little crossover.
Totally. But yeah, I think that was probably one of my first kind of bigger sort of sound systems playing in the clubs vibes. Yeah. And then the bakery when that was still open.
Yeah, whereabouts was the bakery? I remember hearing about that actually.
The back of the Metro City car park. I think it's like
the back of Metro City car park.
So there's like I'm trying to think of the name on Lake Street, down kind of opposite the Russell Square, the big park there on the corner.
Okay.
I think it's now like it's run by the. It's still a building, but they don't run events or anything there anymore.
Yeah.
But that was a huge kind of, I think it was like 300-400 capacity.
Really? So the bakery here then?
Probably the one. Yeah, that would have been it. Yeah, that's the one.
Really? What the hell? Well, that's all.
It's like awesome. There's a bunch of sea containers out the back, and they would always run after parties there for big kind of festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, those guys at Surface Tension, they had Jugong Jr. come over for
okay. Yeah.
Was supporting him. Was I think one of the last gigs I did before they kind of stopped promoting. But
yeah, wow, okay.
That was the first sort of gigs playing out, and then
that's crazy that it's like this just turned back into a building. Like it was a nightclub basically.
Yeah, they run heaps of events back there in the day.
Yeah,
I remember going to the Daft Punk Alive tour in 2007.
Really?
Which was the big.
I am so jelly of that.
That was one of my first kind of big festival experiences.
Like one of my favourite songs of all time that I love playing out and about is from that. It's like the Television Rules a Nation mixes with Crescendos and Human After All, I think it is. Yeah. And it's a specific one that I actually played. I think it was in Perth and Sydney or something like a specific version of it.
That show with the big LED pyramid was
can we look that up? Yeah,
one of the coolest things. It's the Alive Tour 2007 Daft Punk.
Like that was so cool. Yeah. I never got to go because I was in Bustleton.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I remember seeing it, and when I first started getting into electronic music, I was like, "What is this?
I was only 18 at the time, so it was like my first kind of bigger festival, and I think they had Midnight Juggernauts and.
But they really have support acts as well.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
I thought it was just Daft Punk.
There was a bunch of good, like, in that year it was kind of indie rock / psychedelic kind of rock stuff.
Yeah. Because those days were great when it's like Justice and Bloody Beetroots and all that, like, it was electronic music, but it didn't really have a genre, but it had a genre.
Exactly.
But it was like, it's like, I was saying this to my mates the other day, was like Chemical Brothers.
Yeah.
It's like the Chemical Brothers are just the Chemical Brothers.
Exactly.
They're just electronic music, really. Same thing with Justice. Yeah. Like, and the exact same thing with Daft Punk. Like, that would have been sick.
Mind blowing. And it's probably one of my first concerts, and seeing that was like, fuck, this is what I want to do. I want to be building stages like that, and performing to crowds of people.
But because you build stages and stuff now, right?
Yeah, I work for CCA Productions, which is CCA. Stands for Cold Cranking Amps.
Cold Cranking Amps, okay.
They're probably one of the kind of big 5 audio companies in Perth. So mostly focused on sound, so pretty specialty compared to a lot of other businesses which do lots of sound and lighting and everything in between. They're kind of more just niche audio company.
Do they have a website at all?
There is a website. You can just call it CCA Perth. They have been working there for about 8 years, about 8 months now, since about middle of last year.
Yeah, okay.
As a client manager. So.
Oh yeah, I've seen that logo out and about actually.
Yeah, they
Yeah, because you were saying before, it's like they supply audio to a lot of the venues around Perth and stuff.
That's kind of the big part of the business is that all of our equipment is installed in venues like Metro City, Metro Frio, Amplifier, Magnet House, El Grotto.
Wait, go back to the DJ gear for a second.
Oh, that's ancient.
The 100s?
They've been going for a while, yeah. And the website's a little bit out of date. Needs a bit of a rehaul. But
still, like, that's
exactly.
the thing.
They've been around for a while.
Yeah. You don't need, sometimes you don't need to, like, bring the website back up to standard.
They've got enough business.
That's exactly it. If you're still running and still paying the bills, then away you go, right?
But yeah,
that's so cool.
My boss, Luke Willett, shout out Luke. He's been around the live music scene and running this business for about 18 years now, I think. And
it's a long time.
Yeah, pretty much has our equipment installed in all the big venues in Perth, and they have like a monthly hire fee that we supply audio operators and run all the sound desks when there's touring DJs and touring bands, and it's a big part of the business.
Yeah, that's very cool. But then, like, so jumping back to the DJing, so then it's like you were playing at like the bakery and stuff like that, and you went and saw Daft Punk. Yeah. And then like what happened in between that and then like working for this company, CCA?
I studied architecture straight out of school, so
nice.
I finished my architecture degree around 2013. Yeah. And was working drafting and doing that sort of thing for a number of years, and then had a big overseas trip in 2016.
Where'd you go?
I started off in Croatia. I went to Outlook Festival, which is a crazy festival.
It's not the Microsoft Outlook.
No. Outlook Festival is in Croatia. It used to be on an old the site where the festival was. It's not there anymore, but it was.
What, that third image there?
So that was the opening party. It's in the Coliseum.
In the Coliseum. You went to a party in the Coliseum.
So the opening party, they do like the week-long festival on the beach with that's the photo there. That's that one there that one there. It's the actual festival site. It was a 14th century military fortress. That
a 14th century.
Yeah, so it's like literally castles and a moat that ran around the festival site, and there was a stage inside the moat, which was like 300-meter section of the moat with speakers up like 30-foot cliff walls with speakers delayed back. It was like a religious experience going in there.
Yeah, it would have been. That sounds crazy.
But it's like a week-long festival on this peninsula on the edge of Croatia, and the story goes that when communism fell in the early 90s, a bunch of people just squatted on the fortress, and 5-10 years later they were running a festival, and they didn't own the grounds, but they essentially had been there long enough that they just ran the festival there every year. And the opening party's in a 2,000-year-old Roman Colosseum. I think the headliner for that show was Damian Marley.
Marley, okay.
And they did lots of drum and bass and dub and reggae and everything in between. But that was the start of the trip, and then ended up going to Bestival in the Isle of Wight, which is off the coast of the UK.
Bestival?
It's a big festival over there.
The Bestival Festival?
Yeah. My brother's partner...
That's such a cool name.
My brother's wife now, she was one of the festival organisers.
Really?
When we were flying over to be there for the festival, she was like 7 months pregnant with their first kid, and she got me and my brother and all my mates tickets, VIP tickets to the festival, which is like...
That's unreal.
It's a big festival. And
yeah,
then
it looks huge.
That was like 2 weeks straight festivals back to back, and then went to London to hang out with my bro for a bit, and then Amsterdam and Berlin, and then went to Berlin. My first experience clubbing in Berlin was unreal.
I've been told it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Totally. And it's like very just raw. Just
Yeah.
like, I remember walking down the train line one night with just a bunch of our mates, and we're drinking, and you're allowed to street drink there. So it was like, you ended up meeting people lining up for the clubs because you're sitting there drinking and chatting and having a good time. And in comparison to Perth at the same time, you'd be like miserable and raining, and everyone's pre-drinked and then queued up and pissed off and like getting in fights. It was the complete opposite vibe in Germany.
That's it. I can imagine the culture is just so different.
Yeah.
Right? So different.
And the clubs are crazy. There's like big techno parties in warehouses.
They just don't stop, right?
Yeah, literally.
Because I've been told it's like, say, Berghain, and like you'll start on like a Thursday night, and then it'll go all the way to like Monday night, something like that. It just keeps going.
Yeah, but yeah, that was like a little tour of the music nightlife in Europe, and then I got back to Perth after about 6 months, and a friend, my mate Phil Santos, I didn't have work at the time. I was just drafting from my house, and he was like, "You should come to Blazing Swan Festival." It was like 6 weeks after I got home from this trip.
What year was this to go Blaze?
2017.
Yeah, okay.
And that was my first.
Yeah, so this would be like in the early days of Blaze.
Yeah,
then.
I think this year's the 10-year anniversary, so it would have been like the 3rd year or something.
Yeah,
of the festival. But
that's cool.
That totally opened my eyes, because I've obviously been to like structured festivals, and Blaze is a totally different experience because it's all volunteer run. Every stage that was there, and I think the first year I was there, it was like 17 stages or something, and it's all volunteer run. So everyone just brings their equipment out and sets up the speakers and lighting, and because the people that are building it are just there as punters as well, you can just chatting with all the different crew about what they were running and how they did their lights. And
were you there when they had the Millennium Falcon set up?
Yes.
So like you go up to the top.
Yeah.
So see that third photo or the fourth photo to the right?
Just the
up,
next one across.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
That's the Alliance crew.
Yeah, the Alliance crew.
Yeah.
When I found out about that, I was like, you kidding me? They built a Millennium Falcon in the desert.
And it's like a life-size replica which had like neon UV artworks lining all the walls and the roof.
Yeah.
And it's like, those ones there kind of show the UV artwork and stuff.
Yeah, look at that.
And that's just one of like 20 stages there.
Yeah.
So there's like every style of music possibly. You could walk from one stage to the next, and you got psytrance, you got drum and bass, breakbeats, house, techno.
Yeah, just everything.
It's just like a music lover's paradise. That was, I think, one of their first stages before the Falcon.
Yeah, the bloody...
but yeah, those guys,
Imperial
huge
shit.
Inspiration into running events. And when I got back from that first year at Blaze, I pretty much quit my full-time job in architecture, and I started working for a crewing company, which we were just hired as extra hands for building and packing down stages for bigger touring acts and stuff.
What company was that?
That was Ambassador Corporate Crewing. With,
Ambassador Corporate Crewing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Nico Shilkin, shout out Nico. He was my boss back then, and he had his finger in all the different events, and he knew all the different crews. So getting to kind of learn the ropes and learn how to roll cables and plug shit in and run DMX and doing lighting and
three-phase power and everything.
It was like a bit of a tester at just a little bit of everything. They obviously didn't specialize in anything, but helped set up and pack down lots of different events.
Yeah, okay.
I was with them for like 2 years.
Nice,
and then first company I worked with was Icon Audiovisual.
I've heard of
Bayswater.
Icon. Yeah.
And they're still around. But the initial guys I was working with sold the company in 2020, the end of COVID.
But then these guys mainly just like build stages, and as you said, the first company is just roll.
That was just crewing, yeah. So that was mostly just, we were extra hand to.
Okay.
We'd go like to Belvoir. I think we did like Hidden Festival and stuff back in 2017 or 18, and they were like big touring acts that had like American lighting and audio and visual designers doing their stages. So we were like learning from some of the best. And
that's so cool. Just networking with people that have traveled the world doing what they do, and just getting to meet them. That's sick.
And then Icon Audiovisual, I was there for about on and off about 3 or 4 years, and worked for a few different companies in between then, and those guys are great. Paul Tan and Rowan are still running the business, and Shannon Dixon's with them. Those guys.
Shannon,
They've run Blossom Festival.
I've had Shannon on the podcast before. Yeah.
And Paul Tan is an absolute genius and laser. Wizard. He pretty much runs all the lasers, and he's been doing lighting, operating at Magnet House and stuff, and some of the big clubs for years and years. And I've worked with him recently at Metros. He does all the lasers for them, and he's good guys to work with and learn from.
Yeah.
But that was probably my introduction to the AV world, and I've been working full time in the industry for the last sort of 7 or 8 years now.
You just never look back.
Yeah.
You just kind of caught that bug when you went traveling, and then you're like, I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get involved.
But Blazing Swan definitely are still a part of Abode Camp, which is one of
Abode,
we're out there this year with bringing my sound system for the week.
You have your own sound system. Okay. We definitely got to dive into that later.
But in terms of the timeline, what is it? Like 2020, we started Traction Promotions. So Traction started with myself and Callum and Hayden, my initial business partners, who pretty much floated the idea to me. They'd been running events, and I'd been their production manager for Unbound events, which is like a disco and house night. Okay. And I was working for Megavision at the time, another production company.
Megavision.
And these guys came in. They were friends with my old housemate, and they were young. They were like 21 at the time, and were throwing lots of money into their production, and I respected the hell out of them, because working in the AV industry, you get people that lowball you all the time. They're like, hey, I want a big stage, but I only want to spend like $800. And you're like, we can offer you these 3 lights, and that's about it. Yeah. But these guys came in, and they had a party that weekend at Perth Mess Hall, which is the Swan Barracks.
Swan Barracks. Yeah, because it's a backpackers place, right?
Yeah, with a big army drill hall attached to it. It's like a 1,000-person venue.
So it's really a 1,000-person venue. Wow.
But these guys had a party there that weekend, and they came in and were like, "Hey, we want to do like some cool lights and sound and stuff." And then they were like, "Here's like $5,000. We're going to just give us the best you can get." And I was like, "Oh, okay, these guys, not just like eager and they know their promotion, but they're willing to fucking throw some money at it."
Yeah.
And that's a big part of it. It's like willing to risk it to have something that's awesome.
That's what people don't realize as well. It's like so many events, festivals, everything. There is so much money that gets floated around, bought, like renting equipment, hiring things, trying to like pay for things. People, they go to Seasons like, oh yeah, it's Seasons. Or they go to bloody, like all these other festivals and stuff. Yeah. But then they don't realize there's like
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like something that just blew me away a while ago is like I was helping the Soon crew get a sound system together. Yeah, yeah. And so we were looking at line arrays because we thought it'd be cool to have like, subs and a line array on top. Yeah. But line arrays are so expensive.
And not easy to transport and set up at all.
Yeah, that's exactly it, yeah.
You need something to hang them off, and then you need to have riggers involved. And
but they're loud and they're festival bloody speakers, but they also cost like $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. Like,
that's the low end of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That was like 2020 starting up with Traction Promotions.
Yeah,
These guys approached me at the time. Were like, "Hey, we want to do a drum and bass night," and they knew that I was really involved in the drum and bass scene, and I'd been DJing drum and bass for about 3 or 4 years by that point out at clubs. And they wanted to go 50-50 in me with the business. So it was pretty much during COVID the conversations came around, and we're all in lockdown and doing live streams from our house and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. And everyone did that.
It was probably the perfect time to start the business because all the touring drum and bass artists from overseas weren't coming, so it was a bit of a level playing field as a promoter. That the big companies like Inhibit and Origin and the guys that were doing all the touring acts, we had the same pool of DJs to pick from because
that's it.
Yeah.
You just have to keep it local almost.
Yeah. And I got heaps of respect for Jeff and Saren and those guys that essentially built the drum and bass scene in Perth.
Yeah.
I've been going to their gigs since I was a teenager. My first ever drum and bass event was Origin 2007, which was the first one out at Belvoir.
Nice.
And that again was like blew my mind in terms of the caliber of the artists they'll bring out and all the
and the setup
lights
and
everything.
Setup.
But 2020 we were like, fuck it, let's do it. We've got a chance that we can start a promotion company, and even if we are clashing with other events or whatever, we've still got the same caliber of people coming through. And our first ever event was October that year in 2020, and we did a gig at the Perth Mess Hall at the Swan Barracks. We spent about 12 grand on the stage.
12 grand, damn.
But we had a bit of a plan. We built the stage on the Friday night, and we approached Sam, who was running the Perth Mess Hall at the time. He had been running the venue at the Perth Mess Hall for ages, but they'd never put their own music event on. They hired it out to other people. And we kind of floated the idea to him. We're like, look, we'll build a stage and we'll do the Saturday night and you can have the Friday night. Split the cost of the stage down the middle. We'll help promote, because he had never run an event like this. I did all the graphics for him. We ran his Facebook page and started him up an Instagram account. And helped him get his event off the ground, but obviously saved us heaps of costs. Splitting the cost of the stage and all the lights and lasers and stuff.
It's huge in there.
It's a crazy big venue.
Look at that venue.
But because you got the height of that roof, we could do a huge laser show. We had Paul come in and did a big laser show, and we booked Greg Packer to do a drum and bass set, who's Dr. Packer. He does disco.
He's really big name. Really big name.
But he's like a pioneer in the drum and bass scene in Perth.
Way back in the day.
Back in the mid-90s. He was putting out records on like Good Looking Records and some of these big international drum and bass labels, and kind of put Perth on the scene. He was a resident at the Rise nightclub, which is now the Air nightclub, and
I actually messaged him and tried to get him on here, but I didn't. I think he was a bit.
He's hard to get in touch
pinned down almost.
But we booked him for a drum and bass set, and it was the first time he'd played a drum and bass set in Perth for about 7 years.
Wow.
And the story goes, it was our very first event in terms of promoting, so we had no followers. We didn't really have a big audience, or we were throwing pretty much everything we had at this gig, and we'd sold a few tickets and things were kind of going all right. And then Paul Harding, who's El Hornet from Pendulum, he doesn't know us at all, and he put this big post on Perth Drum and Bass Forum, which I think at the time had about 15,000 followers. And it was pretty much being like, I don't know this promoter from a bar of soap, but if you don't come to the Swan Barracks to see Greg Packer, you don't know anything about the Perth music industry. And he wrote this big essay. It was just like explaining how he used to go to Greg Packer's gigs when the drum club and like all of these drum and bass events hadn't really started yet. And he was like, he would go to a night where it would be like happy hardcore and gabba and all of these other styles, just to catch the Greg Packer drum and bass set at the end of the night. And pretty much explained why Greg Packer was so important in the drum and bass scene and to the Perth music industry, and called everyone out. It was just like, if you don't come to this gig, you're a piece of shit, essentially.
That's so good.
That comment thread on that forum had
blown
like
up, right?
500 comments and thousands of likes, and we ended up selling 450 tickets to our first gig.
That's crazy. 450 tickets
and
for your first event. That's nuts.
Which was a huge success, and the night went really well, and that was our stepping stone into our first ever gig. And
that's amazing.
It's still to this day, I think, our best selling gig, and it was 4 years ago now. And, it was iconic for us. Was like watching it all unfold and everyone actually rocking up, and El Hornet was there at the gig, and I was just like messaging like, "Oh, fuck, need to buy you a beer." You pretty much like launched our event for us, and that was 4 years ago now. And since then, Callum and Hayden have kind of stepped away from the business. They have 3 or 4 other event series they run with Unbound still, and Transit Techno Night. And they had another night called Shake, which was like a commercial kind of night. And now Callum's also running Out and About, which is like a live music. They do bands and stuff. They last one was at Port Beach on Boxing Day.
Yeah,
They had over 1,200 people at the gig, and their events are blowing up big time. So, shout out to Callum and Hayden for getting me off my ass and getting into promoting. It was,
very nice.
I'd always wanted to do it, but those guys definitely pushed us into knowing it was possible, because they'd been promoting for a few years, and they'd kind of pushed past that point where it was, do you make money, do you lose money? It was just like, we're doing this and people are going to come, and they've been really successful. So
no, it's really good to hear, because that's the thing, is running events, it can be such a hard thing to pull off sometimes.
Yeah,
it's like, you say, like, if you're doing raves and stuff like that, it's like you're not making any money from raves, but people love to go to these parties and the raves. But then at the same time, you do like paid events. You do the paid events, it's like to try and make
bolster
money.
That,
yeah. But the problem is, when you do the paid events, it's like there are so many other events that people can go to. It's trying to, build your brand, build the hype, basically. Because that's where it's like Inhibit. All they have to do is just slap an Inhibit logo on an event.
He's got 20,000 followers, so if you think of the maths, he needs to sell. If he's got a 2,000 person venue like Metro's, he's got 10% of his followers need to come to the gig. Yeah, whereas most other promoters need 100% of their punters to come to the gig.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, those guys were hugely influential in getting Traction started, and since they stepped away from the business, we've pretty much our focus was warehouse parties. So we didn't want to do nightclubs. We did. We had some really illegal parties in abandoned warehouses and stuff.
Very nice.
And then
they're always the best.
Yeah. And then we did Freo Social a couple times, which is a big warehouse space, but awesome. They got a crazy big D&B Audio Technic sound system.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is kind of the best technology you can get in line arrays and stuff.
What? So DB Audio Tech, you reckon?
D&B Audio Technic, yeah.
D&B, yeah. That's so funny.
Which is what we use at my company now. Pretty much our whole inventory of speakers is D&B.
I wonder if the Soon guys are listening, because it's quite funny. When I was doing research on speakers, so D&B Audio Tech have just released a 3-way PA system.
Yeah, yeah.
And I managed to sort out someone over here to actually give us a demo model, have a look. And these three, can we look up Opera Revo D&B?
Oh, that's the DB. What are they called? DB. Trying to think.
Yeah,
there's a few names.
212s. Yep.
There's they're DB Technologies. The DB Audio Technic is another company. It's a German brand.
Sorry,
I think these guys are an Italian company. And
they're Italian speakers. Yeah. Yeah, but quickly, those speakers there.
That's what the guys with the Soon have recently.
Yeah. I managed to sort those speakers out for them, and they're I think they're 2,200 watts RMS. Yeah. Those things are loud. 133, 134 dB.
Yeah. I'm still yet to hear it, but I'm planning to go to the Techno Tunnel.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'll see you there at the Techno Tunnel. Can we do a quick promotion for that, if that's all right? Just pull up the Soon group and then pull up how we're doing Techno Tunnel on Saturday.
Those guys. I played my first gig for Soon at the Goodwill Club on the 27th of Jan, just gone.
I would have been there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I played the last set of the night from 1 till 2 in the morning.
Yeah, okay.
And Josh Crofton was playing before me. It's Filler.
Yes, yeah.
And,
so that one, I stuck around for a lot of the night, but I ended up bailing, so.
No, that was a good night. And first time meeting Mitch and those guys as part of the crew.
And Josh and Major and stuff, yeah.
I'd met Major a few times, because he'd actually been a part of the Surface Tension crew from 10 years before.
Really?
And he'd been to all their gigs, and it was I remember his face. And then they're doing the House of Orbit Blazing Swan recently, so been to all their parties the last few years with out at Blaze.
Oh no, so if you go on Facebook and type in the Soon SOON, Soon platform. Oh, there you go, Soon Techno Tunnel. Oh, the second link, but it'll still pop up. Yeah, type in Soon. Yep, presents Techno Tunnel. Yeah, if you know, you know.
Yeah, it's a little secret spot.
Yeah, it's a little secret spot, yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I've been scoping that joint out for a while to see the logistics of setting up, and this will be a perfect little
it's going to be
preview
fun
as to what it is. I'm keen to hear the sound system as well.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be good. It's going to be very good.
Yeah, fucking nice.
But so then jumping back to that, so then it's you were doing events at Freo Social and stuff.
And pretty much our ethos was staying out of the clubs, because there's lots of drum and bass events, and there's lots of different styles, but we just wanted to do underground drum and bass in underground venues, and try to make it as gritty as possible.
Very cool.
The first one I did when I took over running Traction by myself was Perth City Farm, which, have you been to the complex in East Perth?
No, I've heard of it though, Perth City Farm, yeah.
So it's like 2 big warehouses on this one property.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, I want to do a 2-stage event and we can have 2 big sound systems. We had one which was like just drum and bass, and we had one which was like bass music with Win and Bold Theory and a couple of those guys playing kind of, more funky kind of dubby sounds and trappy.
Win, like, she's amazing, but the music she makes, it's out
eclectic,
there. Yeah, but it's cool. Yeah, but it's so out there, and it stands out amongst the rest.
Wonky bass music.
Yeah, that's it. Wonky bass music. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first gig I kind of did by myself, and it was actually the first night we premiered our Traction Soundsystem. So
Traction Soundsystem. Okay.
Traction Soundsystem.
Let's have a look into this.
My business partner Brad Thomas. He and I have been DJing together, and we went to high school together, so we've known each other for 25 years. And he is an awesome DJ. Dr. Telefunken's his DJ name. Shout out Dr. Telefunken. He and I have been mixing together and doing events together forever, and he is an audio he's an audio nerd and loves
scientist almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He had essentially approached me. It was like, look, I want to build this sound system. Do you want to go halves in it? And I was like, fuck yeah.
So you guys built it?
Yeah. So our friend Darcy Neal, who's audio engineer, he had been kind of collecting speakers, and Brad and him had ordered some of these the tops that we still have at the moment, which are Maya MSL3A. That's big.
So how do you spell M-A-Y-E-R?
M-E. If you look up the Traction, it should be. We've got photos of it on our page in Facebook.
Yeah, go on the Facebook page.
Or even the I sent you a link to some of the things to the messenger as well.
Was that on the Infra-Red link?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So if you go back on Facebook, Kieran. You found it?
But yeah, Brad.
If you go top right, click on the little purple icon. Sorry, and then go Infra-Red, and then go messages, and then that's where Brendan would have sent stuff. Yeah, it's such pages and everything.
Yeah. So one of the first links, the top, not that one, the top one, very top one. That is a big folder of our sound system photos. Pretty much just all the loose photos. This is the...
Oh, no way. So that's your system?
Yeah.
I've seen that actually around on Facebook a little bit.
That's Brad. You. And this was when we first built it. We were just sound testing it after we finished building it. And
Look at that bad boy.
The subs themselves, we CNC cut. We got...
CNC?
So it's like a big table saw. And we got the plans from a Facebook group called High Order Quarter Wave Society, which is like an international forum of audio engineers and technicians who designed the subs and the speaker cabinets. And because they're all based in the UK or Germany or France and stuff, they're all willing to give you the plans, because we're not essentially a threat to their business, because no one's going to freight the subs across. It'll cost you more than the equipment itself.
Yeah, that's it. It'd be too heavy.
We jumped on the forum and got some advice about what people thought were good subs, and got the plans. And then Darcy, our friend, he got in touch with another guy, Chris Wiedner, he runs Nexus Sound System. Based in O'Connor. He's huge in the AV industry, and he's got a big CNC router, so gave him the plans, got them cut, and then we spent about 6 weeks building them and gluing and screwing them together, and ordered all of the drivers and stuff. And
we got some.
Yeah, that's Brad. You.
Oh yeah! Shout out to Alex G, Rich.
Yeah, that's Brad. His Facebook name's Rich, but it's Brad Thomas.
Yeah. Okay.
He got in touch. Essentially, he already had a couple of those top speakers, and we built the subs and then started kind of putting it together. And this was us building for that Perth City Farm gig, which was the first time we ever had them in public. And we've got 2 stacks of those which we used for the party, and we had.
How loud would those things be? Like,
very loud.
Yeah, very loud. What I have to ask, so in the tops, what are the circle?
They're phase plugs. So
phase plugs.
They look like big fluorescent dildos. But,
or
essentially
like warheads or something like that.
Those speakers, they are original Mayer MSL3A speakers. So they're a Californian brand. This was that first party with that was Confucius playing. They were designed to be used and flown like line array before line array was even a thing back in the 70s.
In the 70s, wow. Okay.
Those top speakers, there's Sarah. Sarah Beltran, she's great. Those top speakers, you can imagine in like a stadium in like America. They would have them flown in big clusters to fill the entire stadium with some music, sound and whatever. And those phase plugs, the big long rod things, if you have a big wall of speakers essentially, and you have them all playing in the same direction, you get phasing issues where the sound will cancel itself out if the sound waves cross paths essentially. So the phase plugs are designed that the speaker is playing the sound wave hits the back of the phase plug and kind of disperses the sound so that the audio waves aren't going to intersect with each other. So it's essentially...
Yeah, so it kind of like it'll get shot out and then it'll hit it and then it'll kind of just go out.
Yeah,
like
exactly. It's just so that the sound wave isn't coming out in the exact same pattern. It kind of disperses it a little bit and means you can have a big stack of those speakers playing and the sound will be crisp. And
crisp, clean, and just sound beautiful.
They're designed to throw about 1.2 Ks is like the optimal distance of the speakers.
1.2 K.
So we've had some issues with sound complaints.
I'm not surprised.
That night at Perth City Farm, we got threatened with a $25,000 fine for having excessive noise, which we thought was from the apartment block right next door, and it turns out it was from 8th story apartment building in Hay Street, about 1 kilometre away. We're like, that checks out.
That is amazing.
But we put that sound system together across about 6 months.
That's so cool that you've got
painted it.
Sorry, you go.
No, we're just saying we painted it with our fluorescent orange, which is kind of now a bit of a trademark for us. Glow in the dark speakers.
Yeah, very cool. Was it expensive to put together? Or?
Yeah. So all that we've put in about 30K into this sound system at the moment.
Once again, that's what people don't realise as well. It's like you get void acoustics. And then void sound systems like 40, 50, 60, 70, 100,000.
And that's just like an off-the-shelf product as well. Whereas
this is like all custom built, handmade.
And obviously that's where you can do it a bit cheaper. And the drivers we use are SB Audience 18-inch Neros, which solid subs. They run 1,300 or 1,100 watts continuous. But with all of these passive speakers, you can drive them like crazy because you're obviously using your own amplifiers and your own digital processing and stuff. So, this was us just doing some shots. This is before we even got the tops sorted. So it was just when we finished doing the subs. Yeah. And the sound system came together and we've been using it all at our own events. And now it's a bit of a business that we do sound for other people's events.
Yeah, like rent them out and stuff. Yeah. How big are the subs on those?
They weigh 155 kilos each.
But are they like 15s?
18s. Single 18s.
Single 18s,
So you can see the design of them. You can see the back of the driver.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the opposite of most sub drivers because in most sub boxes, the speaker cone's facing forwards.
Yeah, that's it, instead of facing in.
Exactly. But if you can imagine a box that's got the speaker driver facing forwards, when you're driving them, the sound's moving forwards and backwards, like laws of physics.
That's why you have a port and stuff like that.
Yeah, but if you imagine the back of the driver in a standard sub, you're losing almost, not 50%, but you're losing a lot of energy because the back of the driver's just getting pumped into the box.
Yeah.
And you're getting some of that back through the wavelength of the design of the speaker, but you're losing quite a lot. So the design of the Paraflex sub, which is what we've got, the driver is pumping into the cavity and it's designed so that the wavelength is going to amplify this. It's like a big acoustic speaker cabinet that amplifies them. And then the back of the driver, you're not losing that energy because they're designed in a way that the sound coming from the back of the driver meets with the ports at the front, and you essentially then get 100% of the energy. So
you don't lose any sound almost.
And as a result, they are super, super power efficient. We can run that whole thing off a 10 amps. Well, we usually split it just to be safe, but you could run that off a 10 amp circuit, just a single circuit.
A single 10 amp circuit. You're kidding me.
The smaller setup with just 2 subs and 2 tops, we frequently do that at Free or Social.
Yeah.
The courtyard space we do there, they've only got one 10 amp socket because it's an old building, and the 3-phase box is kind of rusted to pieces, and there's only one socket.
Yeah.
We can still run the whole thing off one 10 amp.
It's nuts.
But yeah, the technology is it's pretty recent in the last sort of, I'd say, 5 to 10 years that the Paraflex sort of design's getting out there, and it's
what is it like? What's that thing called? It's like there's the equation, and it's like when you put a sub in a box, and it's like how it builds the air through it, and then how it pushes out through the port.
So it's like the quarter of the wavelength is the length of the horn to be able to.
Isn't there like there's like I can't remember. There's like an image for it, and it's like it's almost imitating like your ear canal. I can't remember what it is, but it's like I have to try and find it another time. But I remember seeing something where it's like it also works off of Pythagoras' theorem.
Yeah,
or
so
something like that.
it's all comes down to the length of the actual internal parts of the box.
Yeah.
To be able to amplify the sound waves and not lose the sound just into like the corners of the box and stuff.
Exactly, yeah. Because I remember, like, I've always been into speakers. I love sound systems, always loved them. But when I was younger, like, I had a Toyota Echo and decked it out with speakers and subs and all this and all that. But I took it to a car audio place, and I got shown up. But basically, there was like a guy who had a 8-inch subwoofer.
Yeah.
But he built the box so perfect that it could shatter a windscreen.
Exactly.
But it's because it's like it's a little.
It amplifies the sound waves coming through.
That's it. It's like a little speaker, because the box is ported and built perfect. It would you could just feel the bass. Like,
Well, you should one day come and listen to our sound system in action.
Yeah, like I've seen that out and about, but I didn't realize it's your sound system. Like, that's sick.
So yeah, Brad and I have been business partners in that since the beginning, and still running it as a business today. And we've got a bunch of clients that in drum and bass and other different genres that always come back to us. And Callum, my old business partner with Traction, he has been one of the guys that used to hire it for all these Unbound events of disco and house events. And in recent years, friend Santiago, who runs he runs a few different nights, but he runs a thing called Fate Entertainment.
Okay.
And
FETE.
Yeah. He does the school ball afters and stuff as well.
Okay,
It's like a little business he runs. He also runs Interface Records, which is another kind of club night, and Impulse, which is another sort of bass music night.
Yeah.
But he's been pretty much our best client, because every event he has now, he just automatically hires the sound system for, and it's just become a bit of a trademark thing that we supply the sound for him, and his events have been blowing up. These raft parties, the ones on the left, these are some of the funnest parties I've been a part of in the last few years. We did this on the raft, which is floating off the Swan River, and we brought the sound system on a little boat and floated it out there.
Damn, look how busy it is.
Yeah, we did a little boiler room setup. I was running the lights for this night as well.
That's flat out. Look how busy it is. Honestly, because I've been DJing for a long time, to play on the raft is on my bucket list.
Yeah.
But like to even go on the raft and then to see that on the raft is nuts.
But yeah, the funniest thing was when we pulled up to the dock to get our sound system onto the boat, because they ferry everything across on a little boat.
Yeah.
The owner of the venue was pissed and was like, "You can't bring that on here." And we're like, "Mate, I'm just being hired to do it. It's not my event. I'm being paid to bring it out. This is what we're doing." And then Brad, my business partner in the sound system, he's an electrician, and he runs. He's a generator electrician specifically.
Yeah.
So he pretty much went up to the owner and was like, "Show us your generator." And like changed a few things over to make sure we weren't going to overload it, and had it humming at full steam. And the end of the night, and we were taking all the equipment back off the boat, the owner of the raft was bragging to everyone about his event and was showing all the people on the dock. And we're like, you've changed your tune. You went from you can't have it, you can't set it up to check out this cool event we did. It's like
that's so funny.
But
that's amazing. Like
that was definitely one of the coolest venues.
Yeah,
and,
that's hilarious.
Shout out to Santiago. Santi's a bit of a don in the music scene. Goes by SRT. Is his DJ name?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. These guys. They've been doing the school ball afters thing, which is their little
like side hustle. Almost.
Yeah. And it's been growing over the last few years. We did another one at Perth City Farm for them a few weeks ago. They Fate Entertainment is the kind of umbrella company, and then they've got a few other different brands.
Because those guys popped up really recently, right?
You should get Santi on.
No, I'd love to. Because I remember seeing they wanted to try and start up a podcast or something like that.
Oh, they did they started a couple of little episodes. They've done probably 15 or 20. Pretty similar to this, but yeah. Because
that's how I discovered them. I was like, oh look, we've got a bit of competition on the line now.
No, those guys are great.
But I would love to have them on. I would really love to have them on.
And they've got involved in so many different aspects. They kind of resident DJs for a bunch of different places. They do the Loop, and they played at the Vault. He's a very smart entrepreneur when it comes to music and industry and business and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But they've been our go-to client for the last few years with the Traction rig.
Yeah, and, very nice. Yeah.
Always good running parties with him.
Do you have like a terms of service, like terms of conditions and all sorts of stuff like for using it, and like do you preset the speakers so you can't turn them up loud or anything like that?
We operate it ourselves, so pretty much every event our sound system goes out to, we're going to be there and monitoring the sound and making sure.
So you don't want them turning up too loud and getting complaints from a KOA.
Not even that, but just like DJs getting into the reds and distorting it. Like on a big sound system like that, there's nowhere to hide. If you've got low quality bitrate tracks, it's going to sound like dog shit. And then those are the guys that usually try to push it and make it sound louder, and then it starts being distorted and gross. So we've obviously got to be on hand to make sure that's not happening. And I remember that first raft party a few times I had to go and sneak up and tap the DJ on the back. I was like, yo, just keep it in the green and I'll keep you sending it. If you redline it, I'm going to turn you down because I'm not blowing any of my drivers.
Yeah, that's it,
But yeah, they've got another raft party coming up next Thursday, which is they're running with the EMAS crew from Curtin.
Okay, yeah. It's a raft party for EMAS crew.
Yeah, it's nice. I think it's a collab with these guys again. They've been. I used to work with Santiago at Complete DJ, which was wedding hire kind of audiovisual company for a few years. So got to know those guys pretty well and kept in touch.
No, very cool. And so then with the DJ, it's surprising as well. It's like so many DJs don't realize that obviously if you hit the red, it's distorting and it can do damage and all the other stuff. They just don't understand it. But then surely there has to be some sort of level of education to be able to teach them. It's like
you'd hope that when someone's getting into the thing is, I probably was just as guilty back when I first started DJing.
Well,
if you're playing at a house party with two little 15-inch speakers on sticks, you can push that and
it won't be that bad.
It's not going to be as noticeable, but when you've got a big sound system and you're pushing a lot of power, you can hear every minute.
Everything,
So reds are never going to sound good.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, the golden ratio. I think that's exactly what I was looking for.
Oh, yeah.
For golden ratio for speakers, and building the speaker boxes.
We've got to get Brad in for a chat one day as well.
Pick his ear about bloody speakers and stuff. Like, as I said, it's so funny. So I had a Toyota Echo, right? And so it was my first car, and so I wasn't allowed a V6 or anything like that. Mum didn't want it, so that Toyota Echo, I put 18 speakers in it, and I put two Pioneer Championship Pro subwoofers in it.
Fuck yeah.
And so with that, the subs were pushing 3,000 watts RMS, right?
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot in a Toyota Echo.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I had two 5-way 6-inch 6x9s, sorry. And then I had 8 speakers through it and the whole lot. And when I said when I first started DJing, I used to rock up and run a 3.5mm to an RCA, set up a table outside of the car, and then DJ and just open the doors in the boot. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was like a little
portable party.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was good. That's one of the reasons why I got invited to so many house parties because of the DJ in the backyard.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's so cool. So then, where did you get the name SMOKESCREEN or Code Red?
So Code Red was my original solo DJ name since I started, which is obviously a bit of tongue-in-cheek, being a ginger and trying to
Code Red, very
not take myself too seriously.
Yeah.
And then I started this project SMOKESCREEN with Ben. So in our little profile pic, you can see Ben there.
Yeah.
Ben and I we actually used to work together at Subway sandwich shop when we were.
Very nice, yeah.
I think Ben was 15 when I first met him, and I was his manager at Subway. And we obviously were working late nights in Subway, getting to crank our own tunes over the sound system at the store, and would show each other different types of music, and that was kind of big in the dubstep days. And I used to kind of introduce him to drum and bass, and then from there. We ended up working together for like another 5 years at Dick Smith Electronics back when that was a thing.
Yeah.
And got into DJing together, and we were always mixing together. And we decided to start the SMOKESCREEN as a project, which was specifically drum and bass, because I DJ'd lots of other different styles, and I kind of wanted to keep, if I'm going to play a drum and bass alias, I want it to be specific to just drum and bass. 2017 we started that together.
Give the page a like as well, Kieran.
Yeah, shout out to Ben.
Yeah.
So Ben actually moved to Scotland about 3 years ago.
Oh, really?
And he still DJs under SMOKESCREEN over there, and we kind of keep it going with me playing all the Perth sets.
Sweet, that's kind of cool though. That's really cool, because then like he's doing gigs over there, you're doing gigs over here, but same page, still promoting, right?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Good way to keep it going. And Ben, he actually coming back for his sister's wedding in March, so we're gonna do a few different live streams and do some video recordings and stuff together, because we don't get a chance to play together all that often.
Yeah, that's cool.
We were booked to play at Full Circle Festival for Bioma, which is March long weekend, but they've sadly had to pull the pin and postpone till later in the year, because they had some nightmares with the residents of the property next door to where the festival was happening, and
that's fair then.
I'm sure it was the last thing on earth they wanted to have to do, but they had messaged and pulled the pin on it for at least this March long weekend, and going to reschedule for later in the year.
Can't the oldies just enjoy the music?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, it's too loud. It's like Perth is struggling for music at the moment, and it sucks. It's like we just had Groove in the Mood cancelled as well.
I know.
And it's like we don't get much in Perth, and we have things like seasons where it is just local lineups, like, where it's still fun.
Yeah.
But then it's like it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not it's an experience, but it's not an experience. Yeah. You go to Blazing Swan, that's an experience.
Totally. And shout out to the Bioma guys. Hopefully we get a new date for that coming up later in the year. But Ben and I, we pretty much in 2017, I think our first ever gig together was for Extended Play.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Andy Carpenter and Sammy and Jenna.
Yeah, absolute
those guys,
legend. That guy,
absolute dons. I think they used to run the Liquid Lounge at the old Flying Scotto.
Flying Scotsman. Funny little fact, you know my uncle used to own the Flying Scotsman.
True.
And this is his house as well. Nice. This is one of his houses.
Yeah. So. I actually remember you putting out a call out for DJs when you were planning an event at the upstairs.
Ever ago.
I think that was the first time we ever kind of touched base on socials, because we were like, we're definitely fucking keen.
Yeah.
Get some drum and bass.
No, the plans I had for that, like I really, really wanted to just try and make it all about music, people hanging out, doing anything and everything. But like I was young, and I was just like, let's just try and make it happen. And then it just didn't happen because complications and then pricing and doing this and doing that. But I was just so enthusiastic. I was like, come on, uncle, come on, let's do this.
It's a perfect way to network as well, because you're getting to know people who are obviously interested and keen, and DJs that want to put themselves out there as well. Yeah. So
that's one of the reasons why I do this as well, is to try and make the network smaller, so that way we're all one big happy family in Perth, basically.
That's it. But shout out to Andy and the Extended Play guys, because they had us on for our very first ever set, playing drum and bass in Perth, and I'd been a avid drum and bass fan for 15 years by this point, and I was always so critical of my own mixing skills, and he obviously was one of the first people to kind of give us the opportunity to play a set out.
Give you a go,
down at the Indie Bar in Scarborough.
Oh yeah.
One of his, I think it was called High Tide.
High Tide, okay.
They ended up
pool party, or
this was before those started, they ended up calling it High Life.
Okay. High Life.
They had a bit of a name clash with another promoter, got a cease and desist to stop using High Life as the name. So they changed High Tide. They changed to High Life, and then they did Bass Watch more recently, which was the pool party series.
But then apparently Indie Bar can't host pool parties anymore.
No,
I can't believe that. That's what made that place amazing, right?
Yeah, it was a staple for sure. They did like 3 or 4 seasons worth of pool party gigs there.
Do you know the reason why? Was it? I got told it was like insurance or something like that. Maybe
it wouldn't surprise me. Because
alcohol and pools.
Yeah, running a pool. It's probably the only time that anyone's really got away with that in Perth, and it lasted for a while. But I think it's something to do with licensing or insurance, and then Scarborough being Scarborough, you playing music outdoors during the day. Well, they had to do it day parties because you can't really do that at night anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure that they would have got some flack from the neighbours and stuff. But
good old Scarborough.
Yeah, Indie Bar's a great venue.
Yeah.
And, fond memories of playing there. And I'm trying to think. After that first few gigs with Extended Play, because they were kind of one of the first promoters that had us on, and then. We did a gig for Good Karma, which is Terrence and Phillips' label.
Yeah, GKM,
We did support for Polar and Bryson, which was, I think, 2018 or 2019.
Okay, Polar and Bryson,
the drum and bass duo, who are pretty big in the kind of liquid and kind of melodic drum and bass scene.
Yeah.
Also make a lot of heavy stuff, but they're more noticeably known for their liquid stuff when they first were kind of breaking into the scene.
Yep.
But yeah, that was our first international support set, playing for those guys.
Have you done many international supports?
Yeah. Since then, I've played for, I'm trying to think, Ben, because Ben, my mixing partner, he had been doing a few solo sets as well, and he did support for Clinical, which is also Good Karma, and Digital, which is another drum and bass artist, which was through Extended Play.
Yeah,
and, since then, I'm trying to think.
Did you know that Extended Play was a record shop back in the day?
No, but it doesn't surprise me because they still run record fairs. I only
found this out the other day, right?
Yeah.
But apparently it's like it was owned by someone else, and then the guy sold it to Andy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like, I had no idea about any of this. I want to get Andy on here. Like,
you should. You definitely should.
He would have so many stories.
Yeah.
So many stories about everything in Perth. Like,
he's a pioneer in the music industry
and one of the nicest guys as well.
Yeah.
So he just wants to give you a helping hand.
Totally,
to get into the scene, to help you out, just to try and give you wings and see where you fly, basically.
Yeah, I'm sure if you look back through the drum and bass DJs in Perth, he would have given quite a few people their first ever sets.
That's it.
Like, there's no gatekeeping. He's just a very humble dude, and if he hears and sees what he likes, then he's going to get you on for a set.
It's the way to be, honestly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Since then, the most recent support at sets I've played for, actually this year or last year, my partner, my girlfriend and I, we started a new alias called DreamScreen. Which is me and her under. Her DJ name's DreamBot. And SMOKESCREEN combined was DreamScreen.
Very nice,
and,
very nice.
Andy and Sammy had us on for a boat party in January last year, which was the first time we got to play a set out together, and was supporting Workforce, which is another drum and bass artist he used to be a part of a duo called SpectraSoul.
Okay, that rings a bell actually.
They were huge, and the duo broke up, the SpectraSoul, about 2 or 3 years ago, and Jack is one half of them is Workforce, and that was a very awesome support set to play because Workforce is very influential in the sort of the sound that I like in terms of deep and techie minimal sort of drum and bass.
Yeah.
And then we also played for Inhibit in middle of last year. We got to do the support set for Hospitality, which is the Hospital Records night they did.
Yeah.
And that was at the Court. They had
it's a big label.
Yeah.
It's a very big label.
Yeah. Playing for Inhibit's great because they've obviously got a huge following and
connections everywhere.
Big stage vibes with big crowds. So I think support for the internationals in that gig was Degs and Unglued and Lens.
Yep, no, never heard of them before.
Kind of young guns in terms of the Hospital Records label, because some of the bigger names like High Contrast and Logistics and London Electricity, who's one of the label owners. But it was really fun getting to play support for that one. And Jono Manuel, who runs Pulp Glitchin', they had us on for Flybes, which was at Jackrabbits earlier last year as well.
John.
Shout out to John.
Yeah, he's such a cool dude. We're literally talking about, if he's watching, we're talking about the story you told me at the Bush tour before we went live.
Yeah. But
like, Pulp Glitch, and that's what I mean. So like, it's awesome because Ewan actually lives with me.
Yeah, nice.
So then it's like Ewan and John run Pulp Glitch.
Yeah,
so it's such a cool little project.
Jono also had us out for some of my first ever Bush Stuff sets back in the day with my mate Brad, Dr. Telefunken. We would get us on for sets, and we played a few SMOKESCREEN sets out there with Ben and stuff. With I think it was Tribalization in like 2019 was one of my first kind of bigger doof sets with those guys.
Tribalization, okay.
That was with Home Tree Collective, which is Jeremy Osborne, who runs the Serenity sound system.
Oh yeah. It's a big. Yeah, apparently that thing's insane.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, apparently like, it's huge.
It's one of the biggest in Perth in terms of size of the amount of speakers he runs.
Yeah, because it's like 20 subs or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And like
he built all of that stuff by hand as well.
Yeah, because Ewan told me he went out to a gig where the Serenity sound system was set up. They had the full system set up, but apparently only had like 70% of the whole system running.
Yeah.
He just said that there's no point running at 100%. It's too loud.
Yeah. I think Rain Dance last year was one of the full setups he's run, which that was the one.
Yeah, okay, sweet. Tribalization.
Yeah, shout outs to those guys.
Girl London,
Yeah, she was there. And Jerome, Octo, and Kinnamore, Prisma, those guys. Yeah, the other crew that I've been involved with in terms of the Bush Stuff scene is the Mad Hatters crew. Yeah. Shout out to Lockie and Mullane and all the Mad Hatters guys.
Yeah, they're quite big, aren't they? Yeah.
But they we've kind of been playing out their gigs since they first started, and it's grown and grown and grown. And now they're like an official festival that they run, Wonderland Festival and Halloween Festival, which they do every year. Yeah. Which they've since combined the two festivals into one festival. So this year it's going to be November 1st.
Okay.
Out at Calabarin for the it's not that one. Sorry. Mad Hatters Productions, the Perth one. Yeah, just down a little bit. That's those guys. But yeah, they've been running bush parties and I think some of my favourite ever bush parties were definitely through these guys.
Really?
And notably, the biggest one that I've ever experienced was 2020. They called it the Rise of the Infected, which was October, Halloween, the year that kind of lockdowns first finished. There was over 2,000 people at this bush stuff, and it was just a kind of illegal one in the state forest sort of vibe, but they had over 2,000 people there, and it kind of grew and grew. That was like the springboard for like the next year. The same festival got closed down by the cops.
Really? What, because the amount of people there? Or?
Well, it was just out in the bush, so the cops obviously caught wind because there was lots of chat about it on... Someone put it on fucking Signal or Telegram or something, the directions to the gig, and cops got wind of it, and then I was on the DJ chat because some of the DJs that were playing the early sets on the Friday afternoon messaging the group chat being like, there's a roadblock of cops coming in, they're turning us away, we can't get in. The whole thing got shut down. And I think from that point they decided they were going to go legit. So the next year, the Wonderland Festival and the Halloween Festival, they hosted out at Calabarin, which is 3 hours east, out kind of in the wheat belt.
Because that's where Blazing Swan is, right?
It's pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close,
Coolin is where Blazing Swan is.
Coolin,
and Calabarin is a little bit closer. It's about 45 minutes or an hour closer. But they run a bunch of festivals there every year, and I think the Lost in Between guys, they ran their festival at New Year's there last year.
Okay.
But it's a cool site, and it's obviously legit, so it's got council approval, and don't have noise restrictions, so they can just go ham with full sound systems.
As they want.
But yeah, these guys...
click that video. That looks really interesting. That one,
that'll be one of the... This was last year's Wonderland, I think, or...
That's wild.
Yeah, it's a cool festival. They got the big Function 1 rig, the Alicia's rig, Ilya. who he supplies the audio for the main stage every year. Yeah, it's a cool site.
That's very cool.
But yeah, these guys, they've been running very well-run bush doofs for a number of years. And yeah, Jeremy Osborne that runs Serenity, he's been doing a similar thing with his Evolution Festival, which is another big one in terms of the bush doof scene, and Pulp Glitchin', obviously another legal party, which it's probably beyond the point of just the bush doof now. It's like a legit festival. And same with these guys. Mad Hatters have been doing it properly and legit for the last few years, and going from strength to strength with all their different stuff. But yeah, they're very fun festivals to play at, and you can imagine a crowd at some of these festivals, they're up for anything, so there's no second guessing what you're playing as a DJ. You just play what you want, and the crowd usually froth it.
Yeah. That's it. That's what's so good about festivals and bush doofs and stuff like that. It is literally just like anything goes, as long as it's cool and funky and groovy and it's danceable, away you go.
And they curate, obviously, every different style. So there's psytrance is mostly on the main stages, and then the side stage does more bass music with tech house and dubstep and drum and bass and glitch and funk and all that sort of stuff in between.
Yeah. But it's crazy to see this though, in a way, right? It's because it's just Perth, as I said, like Perth nightlife does struggle a little bit with the nightclubs and the pubs and the bars and stuff like that. But then you look at this, and it's like WA has such a scene for bush doofs, bush parties, and they just go off.
Yeah.
Creatives coming together to be able to just create literal like make fantasies real life, basically. Like, so
we've
freaking cool.
Obviously got the open space where people can get away with doing these parties, and a lot of the promoters, when they're kind of getting started, being able to not have a venue hire to be able to go and throw a party out in the bush is a foothold to get your foot in the door and start learning how to run events.
That's it.
I still haven't braved doing it myself, but it's watching how these promoters put these gigs on, and it's a feat in itself, just getting all the equipment out there, dodging the highways with the cops pulling people over. And I remember mates who are doing the Mad Hatters parties telling us a story once. They pulled off the Brookton Highway to one of their spots, and they had a huge trailer full of sound gear and staging and stuff, and the rangers were doing a sweep down one of the roads, just obviously checking fire brakes and stuff, and pulled them up, and they're like, hey, what are you guys up to? And they're like, oh, we're just helping my mate move house with this trailer, and we must be a bit lost. Do you know how to get to this road? And they're like, oh yeah, no, go back that way. And they just like turned around, drove out of there, and like, all right, we got to go to a different spot. Like, this one has got rangers there, we cannot do it there. So there's always that element of last minute location changes.
But that's it, because at the same time, it's like, it's in the bush, it's all contained, no one really gets hurt. But it's got that ethos where it's like, if someone's it's like that story that John told me.
You bring someone out, you look after them, and if your friends are being dickheads, they're your responsibility, not the promoters.
That's it. But then it's just like, everyone looks after each other. Yeah. And everyone's there for each other.
Oh, such a good vibe.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I really want to go to Blazing Swan, because it's just that idea where there's no money involved. No, it's all gifting. It's all donating. It's like, well, not donating, but it's like it's everyone all trade.
Gives their own time and their own energy, and people go to so much length to fundraise and be able to bring this stuff out and gift it to people as a part of their camp, or if they're running an event. And then you've just got punters rocking up, and they're running little food stalls where they're cooking people breakfast and running coffee stands and pancakes every day. And
so that my brother told me, like, I think it was last year or the year before when he went. It was the first time ever going, but it's like he woke up and it's like a van, and it's just girls hanging off this van, and they're all giving out burritos. And it's just like it was the girl burrito van thing. It was just all girls. Just like, oh, you just woken up? Here, have a brekkie burrito, and it's just all for free. It's just like
that's it. It's like people obviously put in time and effort to do that, and then if everyone does the same thing, there's just all this gifting happening. And as a punter, it's a bit surreal, because it's like, like, I want to get a coffee. Oh, wait a minute, those guys are brewing one. I can't buy it, but they're happy enough to make one for me. It's great. And people with I remember one of the funny stories that people that do this sort of planning in ahead for Blazing Swan, someone had grown a crop of corn on the property so that they could harvest it, and then come Blazing Swan, were giving out toasted corn that had been grown on the property for
toasted corn.
It's just like
that's nuts.
It's like a whole year process just to be able to give you some freshly made corn that they grew for you.
That's dedication.
But yeah, that's like, oh shit, people are really thinking about this in advance.
Yeah.
It's not just.
That's so cool though. It's like to go out and get free, like you're in the middle of nowhere on a salt lake, and then it's like, all right, well, buttered corn, like.
It's freshly grown
for dinner. The corn on the cob. That's so cool.
But yeah, looking forward to Blazing Swan this year. It's going to be an absolute time. It's a week-long festival, so
that's it.
A lot happens, and there's people. Some of the stages start getting built. Well, there's crew out there building stuff now.
Yeah, right now.
And then the sound camps that are doing most of the bigger stages, the bigger ones start like 2-3 weeks before the festival. People taking time off their jobs and going out there, just building the heat, and so that when everyone rocks up, it's
ready to go.
There's 20 different stages of music to listen to, and wander around and get lost in. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it'd be such an experience because you wouldn't be able to see the whole thing every year.
No, that's the whole ethos. Is like they've got a where to guide, or they call it the WTF guide.
Yeah.
Which is where's the fun guide.
Where's the fun guide?
But it shows you timetables of every event happening at every camp, and you can't see everything because there's obviously like 30 different things happening at once. So you're picking and choosing, and this year I'm going to go to this because I heard that was really good, and then you've always got a different experience at the festival because that's the one. There's so many different things to see. There's like yoga and meditation, and then there's breath work, and then there's like a twerk shop where people teach you how to twerk, and then they've got like doof stick making workshops, and everything in between. From like they've got like people who are giving out safe psychedelic drug use sort of forums on dosages and all sorts of things. So
just
like
how to be safe and a whole lot.
Yeah, very useful information, and then lots of partying as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of the summer camps obviously take a year off and come back, and then you got new camps that sort of come in and show them what they've got, and there's always an interesting mix of different music, and
there's actually there's so many camps, aren't there?
Yeah, these are all different sound camps and different events happening. And then they do the big burn, so there's the effigy burn that happens on the Saturday night, which is the party night where they burn the big swan or whatever the effigy is for the year, and everyone gets naked and runs around the swan, and then it's a big party vibe. And then Sunday night is the temple, which is it's a bit more of a kind of reflective event. It's like no one speaks, and during the week everyone kind of goes to the temple, which is like a big wooden structure, changes every year, but kind of write things they want to kind of get off their chest for the year, or pay respect to people that have passed during the year, or that sort of thing. And then they do the temple burn on the Sunday, which it's a very kind of somber, reflective time, and people kind of getting through all the shit they've had to deal with during the year. So it's a very liberating experience. And,
it would be,
yeah. Lots of highs and lots of lows, and in terms of people kind of in party mode, and then getting to have a bit of a more wholesome approach in terms of not just everything being about partying. It's reflective on people.
It's just wild, isn't it? It's just like this exists in WA, and this thing happens all around the world, in Africa, Brazil, in America, like Burning Man, the whole lot. Yeah. But then it's just like, just for what we're doing here, and it's like it's so well put together. Yeah. It's so organized, and it's such like as you said, like a liberating experience. Like it just seems like it is. It's the next level of going out and having a night out or a week out, or like you go there and you camp and you come back and you've just like been to something that you never even dreamt of going to.
Totally. And like the I don't know about these days, but there was never any sponsored advertising for Blazing Swans for the first 7 or 8 years that I remember it. Yeah, it was all word of mouth. So it's like if you didn't know someone that had been, you wouldn't really know about the festival in general.
That's it.
I think that kind of kept it at a stage where it wasn't getting too big, and it wasn't getting a wash into people that wouldn't understand what the festival's about. Because, obviously you do get lots of people coming through that just want to party and get fucked up. But
at the same time, it's like, I just want to point out this one, the birthday camp. I got told about this. And birthday camp is like, you go there and it's your birthday. Yeah. And it's like, when you rock up, the people wish you happy birthday.
There's a big vagina. It was probably like 3 or 4 meters wide, and you have to birth yourself. So that was how you get into the camp.
You have to birth yourself. That's what I mean, right?
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Yeah. It's your birthday. As soon as you go there, it's your birthday.
Camp Oasis is another one I've been involved with. They had my sound system there last year for Camp Oasis, which shout out to Fieldy and Gemma and Lucy and all of the OG Coasians. Clint, and they've got 70 members in the camp, or 60, so there's a lot of people and there's a lot of good eggs. So shout out to all the Camp Oasis guys. They run a very fun party. The guys that run the camp are brewers, so their gift for their camp is that they brew 40-50 kegs of beer, and
40-50 kegs of beer.
So you rock up at the stage, which is the big stretch tent that you can see in the top there.
Yeah.
And they've got a bar that runs pretty much 24/7. And if you go in there and you're respectful, you bring an empty vessel, they'll pour you a pint of whatever you want.
Wow.
But yeah, that's like a big part of the. Oh, actually, that's one of their Freo social events.
Oh, okay.
You just spotted the stage, but yeah, that was one of the fundraisers we did. A few years ago, it was called Alice in Underland. It was like
I think I remember hearing
creepy Alice in Wonderland theme.
Yeah.
It was a collaboration with Black Lagoon Camps, another Blazing Swan camp.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, there's other big sound camps that blaze. God Said No is probably one of the biggest.
Yeah, they've been around since the beginning, I'm pretty sure.
Definitely. And they always had this big iconic pyramid, which is something very special when you go in there. It's like 5-story structure, and it's just decked out with fluorescent hieroglyphics and Egyptian themed stuff, and they that's the one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, you can imagine that at night time you can see the big they've got the big backdrop there. It's funny enough, I've got that as a tattoo on my leg.
What that?
The big head. My friend Jackson was the original artist that did that, and they used his artwork for the backdrop of the stage for the last 5 or 6 years. And
wow.
One day, I asked Jackson to do a tattoo for me, and I was like, I've got a spot on my leg that it's just, you have to come up with an idea. And we're at Blazing Swan one night, and I was staring there with him partying at the end of like 2 or 3 in the morning. I was like,
you're like, I want that.
Have you put that on anyone? And he was like, no, I haven't. I'm like, it's fine. I got it.
Can I have it? Yeah. That's so cool.
But yeah. God Said No is run by a very cool crew of people as well. We've been dedicated to this for a long time. And Tim Braybrook, who's part of Blossom Festival as well, he was a big part of the camp to begin with. And Louis Vijon and a few of the original God Said No guys are still running it. And Louis is actually now the head chairperson for Blazing Swan. And helping run the whole festival now. Yeah, it's going to be a very fun week when we get out there.
That'd be very cool. We're running out of time though as well. Like, we've been talking for like an hour and a half.
Sure.
So time flies, right? So what have you got in the plans for Traction then?
So have a big one planned for the 1st of June long weekend, which we're just finalising details, but I think it's going to be at the Goodwill Club in going to try and bring the whole sound system out for that one. Stuff it into the basement.
Club. Yeah. Holy crap, that will be insane.
But yeah, we've got a couple. I've got an international book for that one, which I won't reveal just yet.
No,
but
that's fair. It's all under wraps. Yeah.
Yeah. It's contracts being signed at the moment. But, pretty big in the drum and bass scene.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the year, I've got a couple in the works, but nothing really locked in. I think we're going to do one. So we're also running an event called the Connect, which is something I think Alyce would have mentioned when she was on here with the Guinness Book of Records guy.
Oh yeah.
So Alyce and I started the Connect last year, and a bit of a platform for 2 promoters in Perth to get together and run. Doesn't have to be drum and bass, but just bass music. And that was our last one we did at Freo Social a few weeks ago.
Yep.
But yeah, the idea of the Connect was essentially getting not just us. We want to get other promoters involved. So the idea this year is to build that into a platform that other promoters can use for their own events, and have it as a bit of a collaborative thing. So we don't have to essentially be running gigs every event, but something that will hopefully build and get a bit of a staple in the drum and bass sort of scene. But I've got another connect planned for November 16th with Mitch at After Dark Music. Shout out Mitch. We've got one that we're planning for the end of the year. What we're probably going to do at Port Beach Brewery if we
very cool
get everything together. But in terms of the plans for the rest of the year, sound system coming out to Blade is going to be a fun one for a Bode camp. So that's our next big planning, is taking all that out. And we'll definitely have a few more events that it's just growing and networking, and getting the name out there, and definitely just building traction, which is the idea of it.
Yeah, I'd say building traction. Very cool.
We'll see a few more connect events and a few more traction gigs for the rest of the year. And
but see, that's what I mean. Like, it's so good that getting you on, because it's like, for what you're helping the Perth scene. You're helping the Perth nightlife. You're throwing events. You're bringing people together. You're doing all this amazing cool stuff. You build a wicked sound system. Like,
you can see that's a couple of recent shots of the rig.
That's nuts. That's so cool.
That was Freo Social ones. That was Ben Soundscape and Colette Warren and Vision Obi we had for our last one, which was really fun. That's our sound system out in the courtyard.
Yeah.
We've had the cops rock up to Freo Social before, and we were like, oh shit. And they're like, no, we've had a few complaints, just wanted to see what was going on. We're like, do we have to turn it down? They're like, no, it sounds good.
It sounds good. And then Freo Social's like, what's going on?
Oh, Freo Social have freaked out a few times, but now it's every time they see us bringing the speakers back, because we've probably done about 3 or 4 gigs in that courtyard.
Yeah.
And the people that work there love it. They're like, oh, the mayors are back. Like, and
that's cool.
We actually bought the speakers off those top boxes from Matt Cockhill at it's now called Round Sound, but another production company in Bayswater, and he's the head audio tech for the main stage at Freo Social. So every time he sees us bringing the speakers in, he kind of cringes. He's like, "Fuck!" I know. It's going to cause some mischief with the neighbours.
Yeah, that's so good.
But looking forward to some more events and working with more promoters. I always like getting involved with different crews, and collaborating is obviously a little bit less stress in terms of running the events and getting to get our name out there with different crews, and obviously different people that might not have heard of us before as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's very cool. Well, cheers so much for coming on, though.
Thanks for having us.
This has been really good, and I'd love to get you back on, especially like in a year or 2 years or something like that, and then just like see what's happened, what's happened since.
Definitely.
And like even to get like you, Alyce, and a few others on, like talking about drum bass, nightlife events, everything like that. It'd be so good to do like a bit of a panel.
We'll definitely be keen to do it again.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have some more events to showcase between now and then.
Looks like you've got quite a few coming up.
Yeah, it's busy.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good. So next week we have, let's have a look.
I hear a whisper of who's on. I heard James might be coming in.
Yes, yep. James Anatello, yeah.
He runs Liquid Ascension, which is his, or Nexus Promotions, which is his brand that he's just launched.
Sweet, yeah.
They've got a second gig. I got to play the last, which is his opening party, which is called Liquid Ascension. It's like a liquid drum and bass night they do at venues, the old, I think, what do they call it now? Old Habits in West Leederville.
Yep.
I think that's where he's got his next event as well, which is on the 17th of March. We're looking forward to that one.
We've also got a bonus episode. So this Sunday, I haven't asked you guys yet. Yeah. So we've got Bluntfield coming on. So Bluntfield will be really good. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I've seen him perform a few times.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I managed to tee that up, and big shout out to Jasmine if she's watching. But
he's from runs Mad Fap, I think.
Yeah, like he helps. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he helps run that. But he's also like he's very well connected.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure he's played alongside Bliss and Esso and stuff like that. Totally. So and he's been around for a long time. So get to dive into the hip hop scene and see how that all unfolds and how it goes. So
that'll be a good one.
Yeah, it should be a bit of fun. But yeah, cheers so much for coming on.
Thanks,
and like this has been awesome. This has been so insightful, and as I said, it's so cool that it's like you're helping bring people together. You build a wicked sound system, and then like you throw some wicked events and stuff like that. But it's like just helping people just come party, have a good time, and just give
that's what it's
it.
all about.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Bringing people together just for smiles and dancing and a lot of fun, right?
So thanks for having us on. Thanks for all the crew that tuned in.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, guys. And then we'll probably see you on Sunday.
Yes.
And then we'll also see you on Thursday with James. So.
Nice.
All right. Catch you guys.
Peace, guys. Cheers. Sick.
Yeah.